Bye, babe.
Bye.
Love you. Infinite Bra here, reporting Karma of the Week. One guy told me he had an ego death the day he became a father, changed everything for him. He's never been able to say a word to the person he's sleeping next to. We should act that out. Honey, I just had an awakening, completely seized.
Can you go pick the kids up?
You should just be annoying, but like, I'm sick of your non-dual bullshit.
Okay, fine. There you go again with your non-dual bullshit.
So you've read the books, you've done the retreats, you've got the techniques down, you put in the hours alone, meditating, on the floor, early in the morning, and nobody's watching. And something happened in there, maybe a shift, insights, something real, something that's quietly reorganizing your entire life. Yeah, you can't tell anyone about it. Your partner doesn't get it. If you tell your friends, they think that you've gone up to the deep end. I'm out here 7 a.m. in the morning, hunting for some insights by myself. Very lonely path. Yeah, go really, really deep into the depth of my mind. So you carry the biggest thing that's ever happened to you around like a secret. There's like different degrees of seizing. It's different from the one I told you before.
Babe, what am I supposed to do?
Nobody can relate to you. You think the problem is that you're alone. That if you just found the right teacher, the right technique, into the right monastery, in the right country, you'll finally crack it. And you'll be able to make that quantum leap into the unknown. So you keep going alone, head down, white knuckling it. Maybe the aloneness isn't a side effect. It's a strategy. It's a view that you haven't examined. Going at it alone feels like a discipline, like a hero's journey. It feels like a noble savage, a lone wolf. But be honest with yourself. Part of why you do it alone is that alone, nobody can see you, nobody can check you, nobody can give you feedback. There's no mirror in which to reflect your insights and realization and experiences from. So alone, you stay in control. Alone, you never actually have to show up in front of another human being and be met. That's not the path. That's an exit strategy. It's a way of leaving dressed up as discipline and practice. And you can't wake up by getting better at leaving. You don't sit as long when it's just you. You're not as honest. You drift because there's no one there and the whole thing quietly leaks out. A lot of people don't know that actually practicing alone is an exit strategy for you to ignore certain aspects of you. I just want to be like an empty vessel and broadcasting this thing and just playing a role of like a weather broadcaster. Isn't that cool? I love it. All right, next.
I don't think anyone wakes up alone.
Nothing in nature is alone, right? Nothing in nature can ever stand alone. Yeah, even the feeling of being alone presupposes that there's like, other people. That's why solipsism might be the most observed view imaginable, right? Not just conceptually, but phenomenologically and consequentially, because views are consequential. Loneliness is already a relational referent. It presupposes someone absent, someone you want to be understood by, someone you're hiding from, someone you wish could meet you here. Even the desire to escape everyone is conditioned by the existence of everyone. The natty state reveals that everything is interdependent. Nothing exists from its own side. Everything arises through the reference points of relationships. Black can only exist in relation to white. The one can only exist in relation to the many. Even consciousness is conditioned by sense contact. If anything is appearing at all, a sound, a sensation, a thought, or even a sight of an empty room, you're already in contact. Appearance itself can only arise relationally. Subject and object are both empty of inherent existence, but that very absence is precisely the potentiality that allows them to manifest and co-create each other through dependent arising. Serialization goes beyond but includes both the one and the many. Self-emptiness doesn't sever relationships, it reveals that it's relationships all the way down. Just because everything is mind, it doesn't mean other people don't have minds. If you're experiencing anything at all, you're not alone. The world is inside you and you are inside the world. Neither can be separated from the conditions through which the other appears. Our ancestors lived in communities. So being alone is a modern affliction. My house, my land, my career, my identity, my path, my practice. The non-dual zombie appropriates emptiness by saying, there's nothing to do, no one here, nowhere to go, I don't need anyone, there's no others. This partial recognition can become another strategy for separation, another blind spot. It's almost impossible to see your own views because it's literally the geometry of your entire reality. This is one of the traps or even the danger of practicing alone. You can have great yogic skills, absorptions, and become incredibly skilled at observing your own mind while still remaining trapped inside your own echo chamber. The same mind that creates the blind spot is now being asked to find the blind spot. It's not going to work. You interpret your own experiences, validate your own conclusions, reinforcing the same views you think you're seeing through. And the deeper the practice gets, the more convincing that echo chamber becomes. Alone, nobody can challenge your interpretations and experiences or insights. Nobody can reveal the gap between what you realize, or what you think you realize, and how you actually show up in relationship, because it is only through relating that the rest of your afflictions can be highlighted. Sometimes someone who can reveal your blind spot can save you years of going in circles like a snake eating its own tail. So the karma here is that isolation can be a form of avoidance, an exit strategy. Due to fear, we ignore. And if ignorance conditions suffering, then whatever we ignore becomes the basis for all the splits and fragmentations that we create. But here's the flip. If isolation is how you leave, then companionship and teammates is how you enter. The thing you've been missing isn't more techniques, it's being witnessed. Because you can't practice showing up alone or by yourself. Showing up is something you do with other people. You need the gravitational pull of the entire spaceship in order to go beyond. When you're meditating with other people, the whole vibe is different. Every morning when we do the transmission, the instructors and the head teacher, the head coach, they took us on a run. You lead the run and then it's kind of follow you like a magic carpet, and then recently it's been going up paper, and it's going up. Today was smooth. Having a community isn't just a bonus or an icing on the cake, it's the actual mechanism and the actual vehicle of your practice. And that's why CC is. And let me tell you what it's not, because I know a lot of you have been burned by, getting involved in different communities. It's not a Facebook group with 10,000 strangers and not one of them knows your name. It's not an app talking to you. It's not a guru with a merged table. It's a small room of people who actually get it, who knows your practice inside and out, who shows up at 7 a.m. with you every single morning and on call 24/7 in case you have a spiritual emergency. It's a group of people who have the experiences you can't talk about. So for once, you don't have to translate. You just have to be in it.
Talking about your realizations, it's almost like talking about your sexuality. It's like coming out of the closet.
Yeah,
but in CC, want to be controversial. So like,
yeah,
so
it feels very like intimate.
Very intimate.
So you've got a life that you're not willing to burn down. Yeah, we understand. You don't have to leave. You don't have to move out of your apartment to go to India. You keep your marriage, your job, your kids, your responsibilities, and that becomes the training ground. Life is the practice. Realization fitness is a team sport, a completion culture where mind training is life training and life is relationships. CC is an invisible monastery operating 24/7. There is no real separation at all between on and off the cushion training. You can be sitting in meditation, you can be fighting with your partner, working, lifting, taking care of your kids, stuck in an airport, traveling across the world. Hell, you can literally do the entire bootcamp while traveling. But don't take my word for it. I'm just a finite bra who is broadcasting the weather. Check out the results for yourself.
Saturday review. It was like 3 a.m. and I was just like sitting down on my computer watching the recording of doing the Saturday review meditation. And he was doing a lot of pointing out instructions in that talk, and I could see it all so clearly. What he was pointing at, it didn't like go away. And I'm like, oh, it's actually just like like that all the time. I was just seeing like everything's empty and mind created, and it just became very clear. I couldn't even sleep that night because it's like, oh, I finally see what everyone's like pointing at. It was just like, now I get it. And I was thinking to myself, how would I explain this to other people? And I would try to come up with all the words, and it was all the same words that I had read in books, but you can't really understand it by the words. You have to kind of see it.
Ryan is a millionaire who built companies sold to Google, realized anatta after 2 cohorts, all the while being a householder with 3 kids. Crazy synchronicity, I just grabbed a random book off of the bookshelf, A Householder's Initiation. That's what fitness is. In all situations, you just fit so completely and so tightly into an S reality that there's absolutely no gap, no distance. It still fits like a glove. When you seize, nothing leaks. Another householder name is Adrian, a psychotherapist and ex-NBA performance coach. He turned from a non-dual zombie to a non-dual beast.
It's like, what if your life looked like an Olympic sport, like level of
Okay, that's a really
completion.
Good yeah.
Coming into CC, a lot of the emphasis was actually going back into fragments of self, kind of prematurely gotten rid of too soon.
Which
Like-
is what
Like writing it off like fitness. Yes.
almost like coming full circle and connecting that karma to your dharma.
That karma actually is necessary to integrate. To actually come as you are, that is required. You were a big part of helping me get back in touch with physical exercise, right? There was a point where I lost interest and motivation, almost to the extreme of just like, well, there's no one here to exercise. There's no fitness gains to be had. There's no goals. This tendency towards not engaging with life anymore, being complacent. Look, if you don't tend to this physical body, even if you can see through its empty nature, there are consequences.
It's not complete. Over the last 2 years, I've noticed so many people who hesitate before applying, wrestling with the same question. Am I realized enough for the bootcamp? On one hand, we have practitioners with decades of experience feeling like they are beginning over again with the beginner's mind. On the other hand, some of our most impressive transformations have come from people who've never had formal practices. Within 12 weeks, they cultivated enough meditative stability to have a glimpse of self-emptiness realization.
My name is Christian Escobar. I'm currently completing my second boot camp. Prior to joining CC, I did not have a formal practice, and I was struggling with establishing the roots foundation of my practice while also working a non-traditional work schedule. I work in healthcare, 12-hour shifts, varying days a week. So I had concerns about undertaking this training volume while also working such an unpredictable work schedule. Since joining, I've noticed significant development in my yoga capacity, my staying power, and that has really translated into being able to unify my intent and take action in a much more wholesome and holistic way. Things like having difficult conversations with my partner, taking on different challenges at work, family patterns that had kind of just been frozen in time, improving my eating habits, and really develop a contemplative lifestyle. The aspects of the bootcamp that I found the most helpful were definitely the community itself, just having a container that is there to receive and also is open to all of the vulnerability and honesty. The team works so hard, both behind the scenes and in ways that we can see, to develop, really individualized and unique training programs and progressions that work with the pedagogy to meet you where you're at. You can just really feel the love and compassion from the entire team fluxing with you as things begin to accelerate.
The willingness to show up in a community, come as you are, combined with the support from a team of teachers and mentors, skyrocket everyone's progress, whether you are a beginner or a realized being, or anywhere in between, because Dharma works in the middle, the beginning, and the end.
It was just, one of the evening sits, it was just like 6 or 7 cessations. After that, there was a 2-week period where there's experience of what I call clear light. But my sense of self became much more flexible. The sense of time really changed. It was I'm the Tysonist Tyson. There's the convergence of all of these different timelines or multiple universes, reality, all condensing into
The singularity.
The 90-day bootcamp container has grown enough to meet you wherever you are starting from. In CC, everyone helps everyone else. We all have challenges to face, problems to handle, taxes to pay, regardless of our experience level.
Throughout cohort 9, I think the place where I've seen the most personal growth is in integration and taking action. Momentum behind them doesn't come from a place of stress as much or of fear. Clarity where there used to be fog, and willingness to sit with any discomfort or resistance and not collapse into the resistance, but just continue. Motivation has transitioned more into aspiration. And I think that comes from an exquisite pedagogy and structure, so well thought out and executed. It's like drawing on thousands of years of wisdom and experience rather than struggling as a solo practitioner to try to make sense and direction. And then the Sangha and mentors, I found them to be just priceless. There's something so beautiful and supportive about being able to see people go on similar journeys as I was going through, but also such different ones. And to just hold that all together, I found it heartwarming and energizing.
How did this come about?
Buddha Dharma Sangha is like the original triple gems, but we added the M to stand for like maternity, but also like marriage, mating, or maestro. And then of course we have John Lee, the non-dual zombie savior, who specializes in embodiment and breathwork. And then we have Taylor, the non-dual zombie slayer, with his yogic intelligence and precision.
What's on your mind?
Okay. Together, all of us are offering a free mini bootcamp from August 17th to 21st. It's a simulation of the intensive 90-day bootcamp. It's an open contemplative gym, so come as you are and bring on all of your afflictions, bro.
I want to be there. The me that wants to be there can't go there.
You are neither the object of negation nor the subject of realization. Someone asked me, what did CC do for you? I was like, wow, it's actually quite significant. At least after our head coach took over, it's been 2.5 years, and the amount of progress I made in terms of like that phase of like integration, embodiment, just the mundane stuff, it's quite profound. The anatta realization, your suffering goes down by 98%, for example. Right? But then like 98% to 99% is also remarkable. 99.1% to 99.4% is also very remarkable too. It gets subtler, but I guess the manifestation of it can be quite nuanced and quite dramatic too. It's kind of like a 100-meter dash, right? The gold medalist beats the second place loser by 0.001%, but their lives are completely different.